All right, here we go again. Not more on the Amazon citations. This is the third of three. So this is the last time you hear about these citations from me in this course. You're probably going to hear a lot about them, though, or similar citations in the future. All right, now they went to another facility. Now they're saying here, now they're citing particular, they're not going to general duty clause here. They're saying material stored in tiers was not stacked, blocked, interlocked, or limited in height, so it was stable and secure against sliding and collapse. So I'm going to spend a lot of time on this particular one because it's not ergonomic related. On or about July 20th at 2200 times prior, an employer exposed employees to struck by hazards from falling merchandise while unloading trailers, and that merchandise was unevenly stacked and or not secured to prevent them from collapsing or displacement. So they weren't stacking stuff very well, according to OSHA. Material stored in tiers, not stacked, blocked, interlocked, or limited in height, so it was stable and secured against sliding and collapse. And employees were exposed to struck by hazards. Okay, I was part of a first OSHA inspection, like 1973, in a little drapery factory in New Martinsville, West Virginia. We had big packages of fabric come in, and sometimes these packages weren't done too well. They were on rolls of bolts of fabric, and we had them stored in this warehouse. And I mean, we're in the warehouse is in these upright shelving, and the shelving itself was really sturdy. And sometimes these packages that they were in wouldn't stay together too well. We didn't care that much because it wasn't, it was fabric. It wouldn't hurt if it fell or anything, it'll break. And so, but it didn't. It wasn't falling towards people in the front. It would go to the side onto other stuff. So maybe it didn't look too great, but we dealt with it. And an OSHA inspector came in and wrote us up for it. And I fought it. I fought and we won that one. We got our, I forget. This was like a long time ago. But I thought, you know what, this guy's an idiot. It's not a hazard. Okay, it doesn't look, maybe it doesn't look great. I get that, but we could dealt with it, and it wasn't really a hazard to our employees. Sometimes they get a little bit wacky on this. So anyhow, this we continue here. The employer exposed employees to struck by hazard from falling merchandise while unloading trailers, and that merchandise was unevenly stacked or not secured to prevent them from collapsing / displacement. And abatement is by March 6th. Proposed penalty $13,394. And this one was pretty short. And inspection site, total proposed penalty $29,019. Whoops. Okay. I could have had that. My bad. That was part of the second citation. I didn't realize that. Anyhow, so now that this is the third citation. Since that wasn't really part of the ergonomic part of that citation, it's not a big deal. Now, I didn't realize that included something that was not ergonomic in the second citation. Now we're in the third citation. So I got that straight. So this is again back to 5A1. And again, employees were required to perform tasks resulting in stressors that had caused or were causing or were likely to cause. Now here they're touching all three bases: had caused, were causing, or were likely to cause musculoskeletal disorders. And they're in Waukegan, Illinois. Employees were required to perform manual material handling, lifting tasks involving forceful exertions, awkward postures repeatedly during the inbound receiving load, placing them at that risk. Okay, there you go. Awkward postures, forceful exertions, repeatedly, repetition. Again, manual material handling, lifting tasks, forceful exertions, awkward postures, repeatedly. Again, same thing, different area of the plant. Okay, material handling, lifting tasks, forceful exertions, awkward postures, repeatedly. Again, same thing, but just in a different area of the plant. Again, same thing. Material handling tasks involving forceful exertions, awkward postures, repeatedly. And the good thing kind of about this type of thing, forceful exertions, awkward postures, and that, you can see these. You can just watch them, and you don't even have to be an expert to figure out maybe something's wrong here. You can see this, and you can ask the people about them too, and they'll tell you. They'll tell you what they're, hey, this is the hard part. This is the easy part. They believe it. They know. So here's what they're going to implement. They're going to propose. Engineering controls reduce ergonomic risk factors associated with increased risk of low back injury, mechanical lifting and assist technologies, powered pallet jacks, and which they recommend everywhere, in a lot of places on this one. Overhead articulating lift assist technologies such as rail mounted lift assist devices and jib mounted lift assist devices at locations where pallet building and pallet downstacking activities occur. So overhead, then this can get a little expensive when you start that type of thing. Utilize height adjustable transfer technologies. Okay, height adjustable transfer technologies. That's a kind of a pretty broad definition, but a pretty good one though. Mobile height adjustable scissor lift carts, height adjustable pallet jacks, height adjustable portable incline pivoting belt containers, unload loader containers to receive and unload individual packages and the inbound receive load. Utilize portable fixed conveying systems. So you see they're talking about conveying systems. Sometimes they're saying powered, sometimes they're not. Wearable scanners, slings, holsters, or hands. Wearable scanners, slings, holsters, or hands-free scanning technologies. If you have both hands, I wouldn't think that would be that difficult to do, especially in like I said, Amazon is probably scan a lot of stuff, and they probably could set the standard for this type of thing. Increase the number of individual packages handled by mechanical means. Reorganize the dock, reducing the current weight criteria of 150 pounds for use for mechanical lifts. Current criteria of 150 pounds for use for mechanical lifts is a lot. 150 pounds is a lot of weight. I mean, let's face it, a lot of people don't weigh that much. And even a 200-pound guy lifting 150 pounds is quite a load. So I'm surprised that they have that high for use mechanical lifts. And they suggest to reduce them, and I would too. Increase the size of the mechanical lift area to accommodate for an increase in the number of individual packages being handled by mechanical means. Reorganize the docks to allow for more room to perform material movements. Work with outside vendors to increase the percentage of incoming trailers with pallet-loaded trailers in the inbound receive area to reduce or eliminate the need for manual floor loading of trailers. Now, this working with outside vendors is not a bad idea because usually a company the size of Amazon has a lot of pull with their outside vendors. And if you're not going to do business with us, we'll find somebody that will, pretty much. And that works, believe me. Consider developing an AMXL delivery standard policy, and I don't know really what that means, that requires or incentivizes the palletation of inbound loads with the goal of dramatically reducing or eliminating floor loading of trailers. Work with external customers and shipping partners to increase the percentage of pallet-loaded trailers in the outbound ship dock area. Reorganize the outbound pick and outbound ship dock sortation process, reduce the number of individual package touches, movements, and temporary storage phases. So evidently there's a lot of duplicity maybe going on, moving something several times and in too much individual packages. So that's, again, the nice thing about stuff like that is observation of things for a very short period of time can be pretty easy to do, especially when they keep talking about repeatedly. So people are doing stuff all the time. It doesn't take long to figure out there's something wrong here. Reduce the weights allowed by policy to be manually lifted by workers in practice. And here, ensure that any allowed manual lifting tasks result in NIOSH lifting equation. There you go. There's that NIOSH lifting equation again. Overhaul the current manual lifting program policy in place to ensure that any allowed material lifting task performed or acceptable limits by NIOSH RNLE. I'm not sure if the manual lifting equation will support the two-person thing. This would likely involve significantly reducing the maximum weight criteria for each of the current weight categories in the manual lifting program policy and thinking its widespread use in the facility. Any allowed manual pushing pulling tasks should align with accepted manual push-pull design guidelines to be determined as safe and effective, i.e. validated. Any such policy should be rigorously monitored, evaluated, and enforced by management. Any methods utilized to communicate policies should be consistent, complete, and accurate. Now, they're stepping somewhere now they haven't touched before in this. Methods used to communicate policies. They're going in there, too. Reduce the allowable height of packages on pallets. Manual downstacking and building tasks on the inbound dock and outboard ship dock areas from the allowable 6 foot to the 4 foot. OSHA, I'll give them credit here, real consistent. Now they're lying 6 feet high, and they said, no, you need to allow get out of 4 feet high. And that in itself would be probably a pretty good help to the workers. Add workers to any allowed manual material handling tasks to ensure that workers can effectively perform any multiple worker lifting actions, team lifts, without needing to take time off task or to incur other barriers to obtain assistance. Manual material handling work inside trailers in the inbound dock and outbound ship dock areas should include mandatory two-person teams in the interim or under any limited situations where the manual floor loading, unloading cannot be eliminated through portable lift assist technologies and or through administrative means. They're saying that at least in the interim, get in a two-person team in there. And again, that's not a bad idea. But in interim, you know how those things go. Two-persons team, good for a while, and then all of a sudden they get busy and somebody calls in sick, and I'll die in a one-person team again. Reduce the duration, hours per shift, of manual material handling tasks by workers. Methods of reducing the duration of manual material handling tasks include adding workers, all right, adding significant rest periods, and developing and implementing an employee rotation program. Adding workers with bigger, less rest periods, you know, upper management's going to have a little bit of a problem with that. You're going to have to justify it. It's going to have to be justified. Just adding workers is not, and it's not always the best thing to do, but sometimes it's the only thing to do. So, employee rotation program can be a really good thing because you can rotate employees into tasks that aren't as ergonomically significant, let's say. And that's not a bad, that's a really good way to keep the number of employees down and just have them be cross-trained in something else. I'm sure they have maybe inspection or something like that and rotate those people in and out of those jobs. Other important controls to assist in the reduction of ergonomic risk factors associated with increased risk of low back injury. Implement important elements of the written Amazon ergonomics policy program found to be not implemented at that facility. Okay, so they got this ergonomic program at the facility, but they ain't doing it. Okay, a lot of brain power there, huh? Perform basic ergonomic assessment for process pass using validated ergonomic assessment tools. Follow up baseline ergonomic assessments with the implementation of controls in order of hierarchy controls. I can't express to you how important, not too much, how important that hierarchy of controls is, and you should know it very well. Where process pass determined to have unacceptable MSD risk based on the guidance of the assessment tools utilized. Train workers on areas such as the principles of Amazon's ergonomics program, general risk factor for MSDs, common signs and symptoms associated with MSDs, the importance of early reporting. There's that early reporting again, and that is important. And early intervention, the ability to and the methods of requesting an individual ergonomic evaluation from the employer. In other words, let people ask for an ergonomic evaluation if they think they need one. And that's a good idea. Engage workers in the ergonomic process by inclusion into the ergonomic risk identification and control process. Engaging workers, I don't know why the companies are so reluctant sometimes to do this. They know what's going on. They know what hurts them. They know what's good. They know what's easy. They know what's dangerous, what's not. Come on, they know. Ask them. Be surprised. Also, as a safety professional, one of the, I wouldn't say my biggest thrill, but something that I really enjoy when I'm walking through the plant and somebody, hey, come here, calls me over and says, look at this here, look here, and see something that's not right. It's not, it's not, maybe not an imminent hazard or something that's severely hazard, but something that should be fixed. It's a potential. And that would make my day. And I'd do that. I'd make sure to put that at the top of my list. Get this thing done. Then let this employee know that we care about what they say. And if we couldn't do something, we couldn't always do something about it. Talk to them. We can't do this because of this or this or this. But most of the time, you can do something about it. Management can do. Implement management of change protocols for all proposed changes to the visual work environment or changes to work design of a task to ensure the changes do not introduce uncontrolled risk factors associated with MSDS. I'm saying good luck there. Management of change is an important part of process safety management. That's what they're getting at. And process safety management is a great program, even if you don't have highly hazardous chemicals, which is what it was designed for. Because a management of change is going to make, when you change something, you look at it again, and that's a really good idea. Don't know how that's going to work, but it's a really good idea. Implement program oversight and evaluation protocols to ensure that the site's written ergonomics program is being effectively implemented. Develop a documentable MSD reporting program beyond the current requirements of simply reporting later stage MSD injuries to encourage workers to report early stage signs and symptoms. Again, almost every physical malady on the face of the earth, almost anyhow, is better treated or handled at the earlier it's reported. And musculoskeletal disorders is no exception. When performing incident investigations, determine root causes of MSDs, investigate beyond immediate causes, worker behaviors, worker actions, determine true root causes, unmitigated ergonomic risk factors inherent in the process for the injury. This is way too common in any company's investigations. Oh yeah, the worker, it's his fault. They messed up. They didn't do this right. And most of the time that is not true. It's partially, maybe they might be someone's fault, but maybe they didn't do it right because they didn't know how to do it right. Maybe they weren't trained. That happens very frequently. You find out when the employee didn't do something right. They didn't do it right because they weren't trained very well. So that's good advice across the board. Consider the impact of overtime and long shift durations on overall worker fatigue. Revise work assignments accordingly. Reduce overall fatigue and exertion with manually powered jacks. Again, electric pallet EPJ. I never heard them called EPJs before. Electric powered pallet jacks. Implement medical management protocols developed and reviewed by physicians with training in occupational medicine. Yeah, you're not gonna find them all over the place. But include early recognition, evaluation, and management of first aid cases, medical referral, and accurate record keeping. Identify injury trends for action, and include periodic evaluation of the medical management program. In other words, get your medical people, whether it's just a small operation, you've got a clinic nearby, or it's a larger operation, you have your own nursing staff, or you have a clinic that you use all the time, that all you send all your injuries to. Let them be a part of this process. Date by which they must be abated, May 30th. There's the proposed penalty. Again, drop in the bucket. But here's the 3 citations we talked about here in these 3 separate videos about this. $60,000 in change in fines. And again, to Amazon, that's not going to be, it's going to get somebody's attention, maybe, but probably not. But here's what's interesting. The new Windsor, New York one, they got 262 days to mitigate. To abate, mitigate, same thing. The Florida one got 48 days, and the Waukegan only got 133 days. I kind of think it's odd that there's such a big difference because there was a lot of similarities in all 3 of these places. Now, maybe the first one had more, I don't know, but double the number of days almost of the Waukegan, Illinois. That's one of the problems with OSHA. It's like Forrest Gump said, you never know what you're going to get in a box of chocolates. Anyhow, those are the 3 different citations from Amazon. They're very interesting reading. I think very interesting how OSHA handled it, listing the citations and giving very, very good advice on how to abate those violations. And that's stuff you really want to look at. So, all right. There's going to be a little short assignment on this thing. So get her done and stay safe.